There is a scoreboard inside the number 22 hauler at Team Penske. It does not track lap times, fuel windows, or tire pressures. It carries 4 characters, and on Saturday night at Richmond Raceway, Joey Logano decided to tell the entire sport what those 4 characters say. He revealed it while answering a question about 2 words that follow him to every racetrack he visits. He had just won the Cookout 400 by 0.392 seconds and recorded the 39th victory of his NASCAR Cup Series career. Almost none of the conversation that followed was about the race itself. 4 days later, a champion who competed against Joey Logano for more than a decade was asked about those same 2 words on camera. He was expected to defend the 3-time champion. He did not. Begin with the result, because the result is the reason the question was asked at all. The Cookout 400 covered 400 laps at Richmond Raceway on Saturday night, and it was decided by strategy rather than speed. Joey Logano drove the number 22 Team Penske Ford. He led 95 laps and took the lead 6 separate times. Chase Briscoe, in the number 19 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, led a race-high 171 laps. Chase Briscoe qualified second and passed pole sitter Ryan Blaney on the opening lap, which was the first lap he had ever led at the 3/4-mile oval. Before Saturday, his best finish in 9 previous starts at Richmond Raceway was 11th, and it was one of only 3 active tracks on the schedule where he had never recorded a top 10 result. The closing sequence came down to pit road. Both Joey Logano and Chase Briscoe made their final stop on lap 361. Christopher Bell came to pit road 19 laps earlier and attempted to stretch his tires to the finish across Richmond's abrasive surface for the final 57 laps. He faded from the lead. Joey Logano required only 15 laps after his own stop to retake the position, moving in front for good with roughly 25 laps remaining. Chase Briscoe closed to within 0.3 of a second inside 10 laps to go, but Joey Logano controlled the inside line through every corner, leaving the second lane from the bottom as the only place to attack. Lapped traffic factored into the run. The lead did not change again. Austin Cindric finished third in the number 2 Ford, his best result since winning at Talladega Superspeedway in April 2025, and the finish moved him from 16th to 15th in the standings. Denny Hamlin was 4th in the number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota and holds a 115-point advantage at the top of the standings over Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott finished 5th in the number 9 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, his first top 10 result in 10 races and his first top 5 finish since winning at Texas Motor Speedway 3 months earlier. Kyle Larson was 6th in the number 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, followed by Christopher Bell in the number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. Josh Berry of Wood Brothers Racing finished 8th, ahead of Hendrick Motorsports teammates William Byron and Alex Bowman. Ryan Blaney started from the pole in the number 12 Team Penske Ford, led 88 laps, and won the first stage before finishing 13th. Carson Hocevar suffered an engine failure on lap 285 in the number 77 and was classified 37th, dropping from 8th to 11th in the standings 1 week after finishing 31st at Iowa Speedway. For Joey Logano, the numbers ran deeper. It was his 39th career victory and his 3rd at Richmond Raceway, but his first there in 9 years. It was his 2nd win of the 2026 season and his 2nd in 4 races, and it followed a stretch in which he had won once in his previous 56 starts. The grandstands were full for the 2nd consecutive year, marking the 11th sellout in 24 NASCAR Cup Series races this season. His crew chief Paul Wolfe described the pattern that produced it. "We've seen it a lot over the years once he gets that confidence," the crew chief Paul Wolfe said. "He's very good under pressure situations." Then the setting changed. Minutes after the checkered flag, Joey Logano sat in the media center. A reporter stood and raised something that had circulated online for years, and he separated himself from the words before repeating them. "This is not my words, but the words of some on social media may call you the Mickey Mouse champion," said a media member. Mickey Mouse champion. That is the phrase. It attached itself to Joey Logano after his first championship and has never come off. He answered directly, beginning with the argument he has always made. "To answer the question first, they're all legit," said Logano. "I don't care what the format is. Everyone knew the rules when it started, okay?" Then he went further than the question required. He confirmed that the criticism registers, and he made public what his team had written down inside the hauler. Do I have a little chip on my shoulder? Yes, that's a clear yes. So much that our little team slogan in our hauler, our scoreboard, is "For the Haters." That's where we're at. That's a little good extra motivation. He closed with a line that spread across social media within minutes. Either way, the Mickey Mouse ears look good on the trophies either way, and the check was pretty cool to go with it. He delivered the answer smiling. He was not rejecting the phrase. He was taking it and assigning it a job. The label exists because of a system rather than a single race. From 2014 through 2025, the NASCAR Cup Series used an elimination playoff format, and the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series used it from 2016 onward. Regular season race winners earned automatic postseason berths under the provision known as "win and you're in." Once the postseason began, drivers were removed in rounds until 4 remained. Those 4 settled the championship in one race, and whoever finished ahead of the other 3 took the title, independent of what the previous 35 races had established. The objection to that structure is simple. A single strong afternoon in November could outweigh 9 months of results. A driver who had not been the most consistent performer across the year could still leave with the trophy, and a driver who had dominated could leave with nothing. By the end of the 2025 season, that objection had grown into open backlash. Fans argued the 16-driver elimination bracket resembled a lottery rather than a championship earned on merit, and they told NASCAR directly that they rejected a structure permitting drivers with weaker season-long performance to win the title. The 2025 results supplied context. 14 different drivers won a race that year, and 7 drivers won at least 3, led by Denny Hamlin with 6 victories, Shane Van Gisbergen with 5, and Christopher Bell and Ryan Blaney with 4 each. Then came the finales at Phoenix Raceway, Denny Hamlin in the NASCAR Cup Series, and Connor Zeilish in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series were the season-long statistical leaders in their divisions, and both finished as runners-up. Only Corey Heim in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series converted, and he needed a decisive move on an overtime restart to do it. That is the background Kevin Harvick was handed a few days after Richmond Raceway. Earlier this week, Will Buxton asked Kevin Harvick about the media center exchange on speed, describing it as bold commentary from the media in that setting. The identity of the man answering is the reason the answer carried weight. Kevin Harvick won the NASCAR Cup Series championship in 2014, the first season the elimination format was used. He raced against Joey Logano for years and understood exactly what that system demanded because he satisfied it. He began by explaining how competitors discussed the format publicly while they were still driving. Yeah, well, I think when you look at the format and us as competitors, when I was still driving, you would tell people, hey, I just raced to the format, what said Harvick on speed this week. Then came the turn. But I think when you look back at it, I think that's the reason that they changed the format, because it was a little Mickey Mouse. A NASCAR Cup Series champion stated that the format was a little Mickey Mouse and that the sport replaced it for that reason. He did not contradict the fans, and he did not exempt his own 2014 championship from the judgment. The format he described produced his title alongside the 3 belonging to Joey Logano. He did not stop at criticism. He converted it into an instruction aimed at the driver of the number 22. So if I was Joey Logano, I would look at that as motivation to say, I don't want that. I don't want that rhetoric next to my 3 championships. So I'm just going to go win a 4th to be able to put all that to rest. And really, that's great motivation. He then explained why that specific fuel matters for a driver who has already achieved the obvious goals. When you're at the point of having won 3 championships and winning races and doing all the things that Logano is doing at this point, those are the types of things that you have to grab for motivation to keep yourself going to the simulator and doing all the things that you are required to do as a Cup driver, with all the work to say, okay, well, I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to go win a 4th championship, and I'm going to do it in a different format. A different format. That phrase is the pivot because the rules genuinely changed this year. On January 12, 2026, at the NASCAR Productions facility in Concord, North Carolina, NASCAR announced the return of the chase across all 3 national series, closing the elimination era. In the NASCAR Cup Series, the top 16 drivers in points after the 26-race regular season advance. In the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, the number is 12, and in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, it is 10. Qualification is determined by standings alone. The win-in-you're-in provision no longer exists. There are no eliminations once the chase begins, and there is no single championship race. The NASCAR Cup Series chase spans 10 races, the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series runs 9, and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series runs 7. The driver with the most points at the end is the champion. The point structure changed with it. A victory is now worth 55 points, an increase of 15 over the previous 40, a rise of roughly 37%. Second place pays 35 points, third pays 34, fourth pays 33, and the scale descends from there. Stage points are unchanged and starting at 10 for a stage win, 9 for second, and 8 for third. Bankable playoff points have been eliminated. This is the largest revision to the point system since 2017, when stage points were introduced. Points are reset one time after the regular season based on regular season standings. The top seed begins the chase with 2,100 points, the second seed with 2,075, and the third seed with 2,065, with a 5-point reduction for every position after that, down to 2,000 for the 16th seed. The regular season leader therefore carries a 25-point cushion over the second seed and a 100-point cushion over the driver in 16th. The chase opens at Darlington Raceway on Labor Day weekend and ends at Homestead Miami Speedway, which replaced Phoenix Raceway as the site of the finale. NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell explained the reasoning behind the increase for a win. "So we felt like more points to the win, but you still have got to be there every race, and hopefully you're going for those wins for 36 races in a row." NASCAR Hall of Fame member Mark Martin, who had argued publicly for a full 36-race championship, supported the compromise. "It's going to require our 2026 champion to be lightning fast and incredibly consistent, and that's what we can all get behind." Kyle Larson, who won his second championship at Phoenix Raceway in November, addressed the length of the format before it was confirmed. "With more races, it's a little bit more in your hands. The consequence for Joey Logano is direct. A fourth championship in 26 could not be traced to one afternoon in November because no single afternoon decides it anymore. His record says the timing fits. Joey Logano reached the championship 4 in 2014, 2016, 2018, 2020, 2022, and 2024. He won his championships in 2018, 2022, and 2024. Every title came in an even-numbered year, and it is 2026. This season did not begin the way those seasons began. At the halfway point of the year, Joey Logano had fallen as low as 20th in the standings, the slowest start of his championship career, with one victory in his previous 56 starts. The change came at North Wilkesboro Speedway last month, where the number 22 team won for the first time in that stretch. Richmond Raceway made it 2 wins in 4 races and moved him to 9th. He described the weekend afterward. "We've had a great car here the last 5 races, and we haven't been able to capitalize on the win." Then he addressed the rest of the field. "Don't let the boys get hot," said Logano in his post-race interview. "We're pretty strong right now. It's awesome to see the speed in the 22 again." In his most recent championship season, Joey Logano won 3 of the final 10 races. He is 36 years old and entering the same stretch of the calendar with the same pattern forming. 2 races remain before the field is set. The NASCAR Cup Series travels to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Dollar Tree 301, a 301-lap race on the 1.058-mile oval on August 23rd, where Ryan Blaney is the defending winner. Daytona International Speedway closes the regular season after that. 7 drivers have secured their place following Richmond Raceway: Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, and Christopher Bell. Positions 8 through 15 belong to Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, Chris Buescher of Roush Fenway, Keselowski Racing, Carson Hocevar of Spire Motorsports, William Byron, Daniel Suarez of Spire Motorsports, Bubba Wallace of 2311 Racing, and Austin Cindric. Shane Van Gisbergen of Trackhouse Racing holds 16th with a 50-point advantage over Ryan Preece. Ross Chastain sits 63 points back, and Brad Keselowski sits 78 points back. 9th place is not a resting position under these rules. Seeding determines the number a driver carries into the reset, and every position gained before that reset is worth 5 additional points across the 10-race run. Chase Briscoe, who clinched his place with his 6th top 10 finish in 7 races, described the venue that nearly gave him a first win there. "This place has been a real struggle to me." Austin Cindric credited his teammate for the advice behind his own third-place result. "This is a racetrack that I feel like Joey Logano could finish top 5 in my rental car." So the two positions now sit side by side on the record. Kevin Harvick, a champion under the old system, says that system was a little Mickey Mouse and that NASCAR replaced it for that reason. Joey Logano, a 3-time champion under the same system, says all 3 titles are legitimate because everyone knew the rules when the season started, and he has adopted the criticism as a slogan while chasing a 4th under rules that remove every shortcut critics pointed to. Which one is right?